tomorrow and Friday. Thank you, we're recording now. It would be lovely if everybody can quickly put your cameras on so we can greet each other and have a quick look. I can see David is here, Oliver, Francesca, Rowena, Zwelinzima, Lucian. Lucian, in fact, was here already 2 hours ago. Dr. Pitt.
He's our star student. Lucian is our star student. Yeah.
I had just come on about 2 hours ago and Dr. Pitt was right there with me. It's lovely seeing you all. Lovely seeing you all. That's great you're all here.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be here.
Hello.
And the majority of people also got your technical stuff sorted out, and that's lovely. And I think Michelle is watching and seeing that we're all on Canvas, that you're all registered on Canvas. So that's wonderful. My name is Birgit Schreiber. I'm the moderator for the next 2.5 days, for today, tomorrow, and Friday. And it's lovely being here with you. I'm going to share my screen and take us through just the opening of the Foundations of Leadership. And then I'm going to hand over to my facilitators for today. So let me share my screen. I hope you can all see this. Here you are, Foundations of Leadership 1. It's for today, tomorrow, and Friday. We are looking forward to these days. And it's actually lovely to see that we're almost full house. I think we're missing one person who perhaps has difficulties logging on, but I know Michelle and Andre are working hard to get everybody on board. So today we're going to spend the next hour and 2 hours on welcoming everyone and introducing the program, the facilitators, and we're going to introduce you to each other. It's very important that you form a network, that you're part of the kind of wider Helm family, and that you know each other. It's very important to have a supportive network. And this program works very much on that basis. This slide will show you quickly. I want to go through what Helm stands for and what it does. So Helm stands for Higher Education, Leadership and Management. We develop an informed perspective for you of the challenges facing academic leadership in a complex and changing higher education environment. The programs promote the development of creative problem solving through expert input, self-reflection and group interaction. And that's when you kind of all spend time with one another and develop networks. We require new skills that contribute towards effective leadership and management at university. And we engage you and you with other participants in exchanging ideas and sharing experiences to support professional, personal, and institutional development. And here's a bit of a roadmap of what you can expect over the next 2 days, 2.5 days, but a lot of you have been on Canvas. And so you've seen the content and the curriculum and just the outline of what we're going to do over the next few days. So today we have a welcome and introduction, and then we're going to look at policy and legislative environment and transformation imperatives in our universities. And here you will look at a video asynchronously, so you can look at that video in your own time, and you'll do that this afternoon, and then we'll discuss it tomorrow. The next part is when we're talking about finance, so it's called Show Me the Money. It's an overview of funding and budgeting in universities, and it's a very useful session where it kind of really brings kind of the theory of budgeting and the experience of what it means for you on the ground. So it's a really a very practical part, a very important part of this training. The next part is leading a South African university today in the context, the challenges and the capacities for that. Also about integrated models for building leading edge management. So it's very much about leadership and different leadership models and leadership theories, and also your leadership capabilities and leadership strengths, and perhaps even your leanings towards which kind of leadership tendency, which leadership style you prefer, and how we can improve on that, or be aware of that. And then we're going to look at an integrated case study that kind of is almost like a capstone, where we look at the case study and you apply all that you've learned over the last days into this case study, and we'll discuss it. And here you see the team that's in the back end of making all of this possible. Our director, Dr. Oliver Seal, is here in the group with us. And he's, of course, the one who has the overall view and leads the direction and monitors that we do good work. We have Andre Malan, who you see is there with the Braai fork. I don't know, Andre, whether we should have a new picture for you on this one, but Andre clearly likes braaiing. Apart from doing all the technical stuff, a lot of you have been in contact with Andre, who gets you on board and really sees that all of us really are upskilled and are in the group, in the Zoom rooms as we should. Then you see Molatelo. Molatelo does all the background, all the administrative stuff, and really is the administrative backbone for us. And then we have Michelle Buchler, who you've been in contact with around enrollments and so forth. And Michelle helps a lot also with content development. Further down, you see Patrick Fish, who's doing the online technical support with Andre, and then myself. And then Professor Patrick Fitzgerald, who is the facilitator for the next 2 days, tomorrow and Friday. And Rassi Lowe, who's also in the background making everything possible on Canvas. So you can see there's a real big machinery trying to make this happen, particularly in this sort of online environment, which a year ago was so alien and foreign to us and is now really becoming quite the standard, and we're all very sort of comfortable in this environment. A quick picture here on our netiquette. That's really talking a little bit about how we want to be online together. We want you please to have your name and your picture in Zoom. We need your name here so that we can record your attendance correctly, and also that we can speak to each other and that we know who's in the room and that we don't have any Zoom bombers arriving. Try change your name now while you're in Zoom. It's quite difficult when load shedding kicks you out of this room and you log on with your phone or with a work phone, then sometimes that gets difficult. So try change your name as soon as you can, or let us know when we see just a number who you are. We also would love to see your picture. It's much nicer seeing a picture rather than just a screen that is kind of a void. So that would be very nice. The second part here is, please, let's be generous with mistakes. I think we all are. We click the wrong button, we do the wrong thing, and we have time and we're patient with one another. That's I think we've all become much more patient and gracious with one another when we make mistakes online. Now it's my pleasure to hand over to Oliver Seal. Dr. Seal will take us forward over the next 2 hours with introducing where everybody has a chance to introduce themselves. I've introduced myself. It's lovely being here with you, and I hand over to Oliver. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Birgit, for that introduction. It's so exciting to be here in the virtual space. I mean, I think although we're all grappling with lockdowns and load shedding, the double L's, it's fantastic to see that you're here and that you're able to join us. As Birgit mentioned, my name is Oliver Seal. I head up the Helm program, and it's really good to be here. Just so you know, we are aware that everyone in this group may be experiencing load shedding, and if you have a problem, or if I, for whatever reason, disappear into the cloud somewhere or get disconnected, the backup team will step in and continue the program. So, and you don't need to worry if you do, because of load shedding, you lose contact with us. We'll find you again. We'll still be here. So welcome, everyone. This is the second iteration of our Foundations of Leadership program for heads of academic departments and schools online. And it's an exciting space to be in. I think it's probably a challenge for all of us to try and find ways to have a dynamic engagement and interaction using technology. But you'll find that we have structured the program and the 2.5 days in a way that we do some edutainment. We provide you with some some inputs and theories and lots of opportunities for activities and engagement. I always say to participants at these events, you'll get out of it as much as you put into it. So we really implore you to invest your time, to make the time and stay the course right until the end, because it is a composite view of the position that you should be in. And you'll see when I do my own presentation tomorrow on academic leadership in universities, what a challenge it is for people in these positions. What my colleague and co-facilitator, Professor Patrick Fitzgerald, refers to as a rite of passage to your role as head of department. So, without further ado, we'll start the introductions, and we go from W to A. I know you are academic, so you're good at taking instructions. It's a very, very simple instructions. All you need to do is to give us your name, your position, the department that you're in, and your institution. So your name, your position, your department that you head up, and your university or institution. And the second part, and that's always the interesting part. So what are your biggest challenges that you're currently experiencing in your job as HOD or head of school in your department? So what are the kind of things that sort of keep you awake at night? I will request that you please be brief. I know as academics, you can say a bit, but if you don't mind keeping it really to the point, and we'll start with Dr. Jeanette Wing. What we will do is when you do come on, Dr. Wing, please turn on your camera when you introduce yourself, and then your position, your department, your institution, and as I mentioned earlier, what's the biggest challenge? What keeps you awake at night? One or two things in your current position at your university. Right, over to you, Dr. Jeanette Wing. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. It's Jeanette Wing. I am the head of department for the Department of Information Technology, which falls within the Faculty of Accounting and Informatics at Durban University of Technology. My main challenges I find are systems and processes actually at DUT, where basically everything seems to be the HOD's responsibility and accountability, but you're responsible and accountable for implementing decisions that are not always your own, and that is difficult. The online environment also, I find it difficult, but some people don't. So that's my main challenge that I can state succinctly. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jeanette, and it's good to have you with us. And yeah, I suppose that's the nature of the job. You'll hear from others. You'll find solace in the fact that you're not the only one that's expected to do everything, be accountable for everyone. So great stuff. Moving on to Ms. Adelheid von Meltitz.
Hello.
Adelheid, are you there? Oh, there you go. Welcome.
Thank you. So my name is Adelheid. I'm the head of Department of Fine Arts at the University of the Free State. I think what sometimes keeps me a bit awake at night, or what sometimes feels a bit overwhelming, is in a fine arts department, there's like a lot of different things that you have to juggle. It's like all the balls are in the air, whether it's there's not enough paper today. We do have an admin staff, but it's like you have to manage material, equipment, facilities, staff. Often our students are here all the time. So often we have more student goings on. So, and I feel sometimes that there's not an understanding of that, because it's quite different to how other subjects are taught. The students don't come in, get a lecture and go out. We like this family, and then we have some family dynamics that are quite problematic. But a lot of good things come with that, as well as the difficulties. And then I think during the pandemic, teaching online has not been as simple as, not that it's been simple for anybody, but it's certainly more challenging when the students are supposed to be welding, and now how that's part of your offering, and now how do you translate that? But yeah, I think it also has brought in new insights, the challenges. So we're pretty good at problem solving, but yes. Anyway, I'll stop there.
Great, thanks very much, Adelaide. And of course, in these positions, I'm saying it's a catch-all and a do-all, but we've also learned to become more innovative, I think, and that's what we've done. I think we become more resilient and innovative. So good to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dr. Hanlie van Staden, please step up to the, you may ascend the rostrum.
Good morning, colleagues. If I may be excused from putting myself on the camera, I had surgery on my jaw yesterday. I'm speaking a little bit difficult and I'm looking like a lopsided chipmunk this morning. So
no, we're so happy that you could still make it post-op, and we wish you a full recovery and a speedy recovery. Thanks, Hanlie.
Thank you. My name, as I've said, my name is Hanlie van Staden. I'm the HOD of the Department of Visual Arts and Design at the Vaal University of Technology. Our department entails 4 sections, namely fashion, fine art, graphic design, and photography. As if I can relate to the 2 previous colleagues, my biggest challenge at this stage is that everybody expects me to be everything for everybody. And sometimes I just don't manage personally, health-wise, sleep-wise, in any case. But some of our biggest challenges is, specifically at VUT, is our procurement policy. And I think the Adelaide can relate to that, you know, the materials that we need. Our students are full-time on campus and so on. The other challenge is student attendance with this online working. They are there for practicals, but they don't. Let me just say, at VUT, our students must come to campus for practicals, but all the theory is online. They don't attend online. I think everybody knows all the students' excuses. Then also, as the first colleague said, systems and processes. If exam office doesn't complete the documents for the payment of a moderator, it's now the new job of the HOD. If I complain about it, it's now my job. And that's part of my biggest challenges, as I've said, to be everything for everybody.
Thanks, Hanlie. You find, in this position, and as we expound in the next 2.5 days, that it's meant to be providing academic leadership in the academy, but it's becoming more and more administrative and involving more kind of management functions, and keeping that balance and sustaining that balance, it's hard, and often you have to step in, you know, when you're dealing with issues like procurement or payments. I mean, the moderators are not going to be asking your finance people what's going on. You're the person that they see as the can carrier. So we'll talk more about that, and I guess that's a constant kind of a common refrain from some of the other colleagues. Great, good to have you, Hanlie. Dr. Mahunele Tsotse, please. Welcome, and we can see you. There you go.
Thank you. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Mahunele Tsotse. I am the head of the Department of Social Sciences Education and Economic Management Education at the University of Limpopo. My challenges, my biggest challenges, over and above what similar challenges that the 3 colleagues have already indicated. I think my one problem is unique to my situation. My department is a combination of 2 almost different, totally different disciplines. Social sciences, as in history and geography, plus economic management sciences, as in accounting, education, business management, as well as economics. Now, one of the main challenges is bringing the human capacity together, the social scientists and those that are involved in finances, management, and they can think totally different, and it is difficult for one to always bring them back together. As a leader, as a head of department, you don't always want to lose the control in meetings. So that has been one of the biggest challenges that I am facing. More so, what exacerbates that is that I am new in this position, so I'm still trying to find my feet. So yeah, you can imagine what one is going through.
Yeah, thanks, Marinelle. I think on two levels, they say managing academics is like herding cats. So that's your challenge. And you know, you'll probably find there's some other newbies also joining this group. So you can find some solace from each other, but you also find support from those who have been down the road much further and much longer. So that's the point of being here, that you'll get support from your colleagues. So it's good to have you. Thank you very much. Right, Dr. Pieter Swanepoel.
Right, good morning, everyone. So I'm Pieter Swanepoel from the Department of Agronomy at Stellenbosch University. I took over as HOD about a year ago, but I still feel like a newbie. So I'm also, so I took over a department, or the position of chair of the department very unexpectedly. So I think that's the basis of a lot of my challenges. I committed for a whole lot of things that I wouldn't have done if I was prepared for it. So time management is a problem, and it will take some time to work out some of the commitments that I already agreed to. I also took over a team, or I need to lead a team where if I can make a general statement, where the mental wellness is not great. Because of a whole lot of reasons, but amongst them is some institutional baggage and previous management complexities. I also need to lead a department with fairly old infrastructure, and because we're an applied field in agriculture, everything needs to be it needs to work and it needs to be operational. So I guess that also flows through to budget constraints. That's challenging to get everything operational, and systems and processes doesn't make it easy. And because of we also had a fairly large turnover of staff. Staff passed away, retired, resigned. So it's a new team, but also so it's been over the last year, it's been challenging to get momentum. So I think those are my challenges in a nutshell.
Thank you very much, Peter. And I think it is certainly one of the issues you'll see when we talk tomorrow and present. I mean, we used to say the only one of the major challenges in the universities pre-COVID was change, managing change, you know, and that was the constant. Now it's change and complexity, and that's what you're talking to, having to do more with less. And then I think an issue that you raise, it's critical because we still haven't recovered from the impact of fallism on our staff and what that meant, you know. And then we hit with a pandemic and serious, you know, life-altering changes for people, you know, losing staff, and then, you know, having to deal, as you say, with their mental well-being. It is a particularly complex time for us in leadership positions. And I think as much as you're saying, you know, people are not present physically in a space, you're working on an online, but your presence becomes more and more important as a leader, you know what I mean? And your influence and listening and engaging with people becomes the critical skills, and staying connected, because I think that's part of that complexity dimension. So yeah, Peter, we're here to support you, colleague, and you'll hear from others. You know, that's what I'm saying. What the opportunity here when you join in Helm is that you can also work on your own social capital. build up networks, colleagues. If you're not finding, I say to colleagues, and I'm quite frank about it, if you're not finding support in your role, in a position in university, there's a host of colleagues that you'll meet here, that may be in similar positions or in your disciplines that you can draw on. And that's what we provide in Helm, that kind of support. So good to have you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, Dr. Rubina Siplare. There we go.
Good morning, everybody.
Welcome. Good morning.
Thank you. Well, you said my name. I'm from the Department of Educational Psychology within the Faculty of Education at the University of the Western Cape. I started at the Western Cape University 3 months ago, and I've been kind of requested. They say no pressure. And I want to run for the hills.
But there's a but coming. No pressure, but yeah.
Exactly. So the but makes me want to run for the hills at this point. And I think the dean has suggested that I join this workshop in the hope that I won't run for the hills. That when they do offer me the option of being HOD, because there are lots of staff retiring over the next 3 years. And then we have younger staff who are still finishing PhDs. So, it's kind of here in the middle, very conveniently. And but I think my biggest challenge is what I'm finding, which has been alluded to, is the big discrepancy between our student population in terms of poverty and privilege. At UWC in particular, about 80% plus of our students are on NSFAS. And so the 20 or 15% that are coming in have a different kind of social capital as well as access to resources as compared to the 80+%. So it's quite difficult working with the two very divergent realities who don't always understand each other.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm struggling with.
Thanks, Rubina. And I think what's also exacerbated your situation is digital transformation, as we're referring to it, the whole online technology mediated learning, because it's not just about giving someone an instrument, it's about connectivity. It's about their social economic environment. Is it conducive towards their learning when they're trying to, get into the online space? So I think that also just widens the gap, and access becomes again gets spotlighted quite significantly. So good luck. I would say to you, enjoy the next 2.5 days. At least it's a break, so you can use the time to reflect and to learn, and then pick up some new skills. You definitely pick up some new skills, and which would help you when you're considering the position of HOD. So it's really good to have you. Thank you. Right, Dr. Lucian Pitt.
Good morning, everybody. You can see it's dark. I'm load shedding at the moment. I am the HOD designate for the Department of Finance and Tax at the University of Cape Town. My challenges, I think in 3 bullet points: managing the uncertainty that's brought about by COVID. It's going to be my immediate challenge. Secondly, managing the fit of skill that we have in the department for what I perceive the vision of that department to be, a vision that I must still try to sell to the department, by the way. And then lastly, transformation in its broadest sense. Those, I think, are going to be my most immediate challenges.
Thanks, Lucian, and that's really good. I think you'll find that's going to be a common issue or challenge, the issue around what COVID means to your position. And I think when you're starting out and you have a vision, you must ensure as a leader that the others are walking alongside you in in understanding that vision and implementing that vision. And we'll talk quite a bit about that in the leadership component, and especially the exercises that we will be doing with Patrick tomorrow and on Friday. So it's good to have you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Okay. Right. Professor Francesca Parini.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I'm Francesca Parini. I'm a deputy head of school, so I'm not yet where others are in this group. And I've been for a number of years in the School of Animal, Plant and Environmental Sciences at the University of the Witwatersrand. And so I think the most immediate challenge, I've been really strongly involved, above all since COVID, and I've been the one managing staff and students. And during this transition to online and to all the COVID protocol, and I think the main challenge has been to actually get staff to listen and to accept that what I was trying to implement was as a consequence of what the university processes and regulations were. And instead, they almost take it personally, and it's like, you end up being the difficult person, and it ends up being quite a lonely position you're in. And so that's, I've also, so I work very closely with the postgraduate students in our school. I've been the postgraduate coordinator for now a number of years. And I think what, above all in the last 2 years, the gap between the students in terms of social background has become more and more evident, and that is a challenge. We are also a mainly field-based school, and clearly the last 2 years have not been good for that. So we had to rethink most of our undergraduate practical parts, and there's been huge repercussions, important repercussions on quite a lot of our postgraduate students' projects because they were halted because of COVID. So that's just some of the more immediate ones, but yeah, there's many more. I think I resonate with quite a lot of what everyone has said until now.
Thanks very much, Francisca. And I think it is important, I think, especially for the applied, sciences where you can't easily shift to an online environment through technology. I think the key issue that stands out is kind of in Deanship, we talk about the bridging role you play also as head of school between the academy and administration, and often damned if you do, damned if you don't. You can't keep both happy because you're getting pressure from the bottom and you're getting pressure from the top.
Yeah.
So we'll see later on, we talk about you feel like you're the meat in the sandwich, in terms of where you are. And I think, of course, that's the nature of your role. You need to step up as a leader. And sometimes, you have to make hard decisions, which is not going to make your team happy, but that's the nature of the role. But you'll find, I think, when we talk about this, you'll find support from what we share with you, that the experiences that you have is common. And we'll hopefully provide you with some tools, to assist you. When you leave by Friday, you'll be better enabled and hopefully more empowered to deal with especially some of the people issues that you face. Yeah. But good to have you. Thanks, Francisca. Okay, Professor Zwelithini Ndhevu. Professor Ndhevu.
Hi, good morning, colleagues. I am the director of the School of Public Leadership at Stellenbosch University, the EMS faculty. I think my immediate challenges, one, I think it's common to others around the students' issues, but more specifically around COVID-19 and giving support to students through remote learning and ensuring that students grasp that has become a challenge. My other challenge, it's really the use of templates. Since I've been in this position, I call it overutilization or death by templates. Every decision that you take must be within a particular template, a particular process that one needs to follow. And the last one, it's around management of people or colleagues, peers. If you are in this role, these are your peers, and you are expected now to take a leadership role with your peers, and that it's sometimes challenging to deal with that. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you very much. I think that's key. The first time I've heard death by templates, I've heard of death by PowerPoint, and death by framework, but death by death by templates is a new one. And I guess that's also the challenge where you have to fit into a particular administrative box. And sometimes one is to feel as a leader, things could work better, if we don't come at things in the normal kind of, kind of, as you say, templarized way. So yeah, I think also, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, people management, I think one of the most important challenges in this position is managing and leading people. And as I'm saying, we'll talk about that. So good to have you. Ms. Nolwazi Ndamase. Nolwazi, are you here? Yes, you're appearing. There you go.
Yes, I am here. Am I audio? I am in the Department of Humanities and Creative Arts Education.
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you. Yes,
okay,
that's fine.
Okay, fine. My challenges, since I'm fairly new in the position, I think I assumed my duties in January. So transitioning to online teaching and learning, especially for practical subjects, has been quite a challenge, because we've got music, we've got dramatic arts, we've got dance, we've got visual arts. So it hasn't been that much of smooth sailing when it comes to online teaching and learning. Then we've got the issue of resources that are not nearly sufficient for these practical subjects. So we have to make do with what we have so that our students are not disadvantaged also. Then we've got issues of space. We don't have that much space, because for all these art forms, you will need a specialized venue for each one of them. And then the diversity of the areas of specialization. We've got geography, which is a science, although it's a humanities subject. And then we've got history. Then there's languages that are there. Then there are the arts. They are all within one department that need to be managed by one person. Then I think I've got issues with time management, maybe because of too much work, because I need to teach, but then I need to manage everything. And managing these colleagues with different personalities, different characters, it's not easy. And then also managing students, but maybe that one is not that challenging with the students, because I found them to be listening and to be.
It seems like we've just lost Nolwazi.
Yes, those are my challenges. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, Nolwazi. We just lost you for a minute, but you were back before I could say we've lost you. So good to have you. Thank you very much. Next is Rowena Naidu.
Hi, everybody. Yes, I'm Rowena. I'm from UKZN. I'm the academic leader. We call academic leaders, not HODs, of biokinetics, exercise, and leisure sciences. In short, sports science. That's it. Yeah. So I've been in this post. This is my fourth year. So I actually quite enjoy it. I enjoy the challenges, and I totally agree with what the other leaders have spoke about, you know, from issues or challenges with staff, students, the online, all of that. But I enjoy it. You know, for me, it's a challenge. I think it has to do with, you know, everybody, your personality. I know the previous leader, she mentioned about personalities clashing and so on. But I think when I first came in, my main challenge was we are all academics. And suddenly now we put into this post where we need to be managers, and we've never been trained in that aspect. So lots of us go with this on the, you know, duty training, if you want to call it, on the spot training. You learn as you go along. And as mentioned, sometimes it could be lonely, where, you know what, like you, they don't like you, but you're just doing your job, you know? So it does become difficult. But I'm glad that there are these courses like this happening, because this now helps us as well to deal with it. But I think as you go along, and if you embrace it and, you know, look at it as, you know, you've got to enjoy it. I mean, I like it. So it's been good in that way. But this is excellent, what's going on here. It will really help the new leaders in, because it can be a very difficult, daunting post. And if you love your sleep like me, I love to sleep. I don't let anything keep me awake at night.
That's good. I think it's maybe, Rowena, because you're in sports sciences. So I think you build up enough, and you got the energy, and then of course you need to rest, so you sleep well.
Probably.
So, I think, but yeah, thank you, and really good to have you. I think this transition and we'll spend quite a bit of time on it in the next 2.5 days, from academic leadership to administration and to management role. That's a challenge for everyone, and you'll see it's a global challenge, because I mentioned in my opening kind of comment around what Patrick Fitzgerald refers to this program as being your rite of passage, because less than 10%, this is globally, less than 10% of HODs or chairs of departments and even deans are inducted into this specific role. So it is a problem. We're hoping to address that here. Okay, I believe Shanushka Naidu, Michelle, is submitted an apology for today.
That's correct.
Right. Okay, we'll move on then to Anand Mullah. Thank you, Anand.
There we go. Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Annerie Meller.
Oh, Annerie. Oh, sorry. I was my mistake. It must be age. I read Anand. So Annerie. Thanks for clarifying that.
Please, don't worry. Don't worry.
Okay.
And I am the teaching and learning manager, or I believe other universities sometimes refer to it as educational managers, at the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences, University of the Free State. So first of all, I can maybe just share that I've been in this position for almost a year now, so I also feel completely new. Can't believe this year has gone by so fast, and I think for me it's really heartwarming, because I can really relate to what everyone else has said. You know, when it comes to change and COVID and online and resources. So I think I can completely relate to all of that. For me, if I have to mention something that I find quite challenging, or what was quite challenging, is of course, like Manny has mentioned, the balance. I think something that is very exciting and unique of being in a leadership position during this time is that we do have the opportunity to leapfrog in terms of our strategy, in terms of opportunities. We do have that. But at the same time, being so excited to drive this innovation, but to balance that with the well-being of our academics. So for me, it's very much a redirecting of strategy, if you would. Not necessarily in meeting targets, but in providing that support to our academics to make this innovation, this change more manageable or digestible, if you would. So for me, I think to summarize, I try to be, although I'm more often than not the voice of change, but I try to be the face of consistency. So I think that is something that I try to do. But what keeps me up at night is definitely the to-dos, the death by templates. So and the fact that I miss people. I'm very much looking forward to having that face interaction again. Thank you.
Great, thanks, Annelie. I think that's it. I think that the engagement dynamic. I mean, I haven't been to the office since COVID started, and so. Not just, I mean, the fact is I sort of go into the office and I get sort of do my work, but that kind of casual engagement, you know, a cup of coffee, you know, with somebody or just sticking your head into someone's office and talking, I think that we kind of intellectual beings and we miss that contact. And I agree with you, the kind of balance and well-being, because you'll find there's a very interesting study called the CARS study, the COVID academic research study was done by some colleagues at Stellenbosch University. And it talks about the challenges women academics or leaders women academics experience during the time of COVID. And a lot of that has to do with that work-life balance, the fact that you juggle various responsibilities, but also there are no boundaries in terms of when you are accessible. So it seems as people think that when you work with technology, you're available 24/7. So the well-being and the balance becomes very critical for us. And as a leader, you know, ensuring that happens in your role. Right. Then next is Lufulviwe Ngumeli. Hello. Oh, there you are. I see you, Maria. Oh, welcome.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Thank you very
Mary.
much. Yes, my name is Dr. Rufurubi Mudimeri. I'm the head of Department of Human Sciences at the University of Venda. So I'm heading 6 disciplines in one department. So it's not an easy task to do. I really concur and agree with the previous colleagues who talked about their challenges, and everything they alluded to, I agree with it. You know, it's not an easy thing to rise to a position of leadership, especially during a period of devastating pandemic, and to give your support to the staff and the students, especially in the rural university, where online platforms are a very serious challenge. If it is not, network is something else, and you have to come up with another way as an HOD. And again, it is also a very serious challenge for me as a new HOD to juggle between the workloads, the teaching, and you find yourself as an HOD having so many modules that you still need to be responsible of, and also to make it a point that you take right decisions, especially when it comes to your staff from different disciplines, and also to make it a point that your department is up and running and you are not just occupying space. You know that leadership rises and falls with an HOD. So how can I become that type of an HOD who brings change and transformation in my leadership in this era? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think that's really, an interesting insight. Leadership doesn't become easier as you go up in the ranks. And the fact that people look to you to provide that leadership, and where you still, as you're saying, trying to juggle, as someone mentioned earlier, all these many balls. So that's really, I think it's a very, very good insight and perspective. And thanks for that. And it's good to have you. Nondiwe Machacha. Nondiwe Machacha, are you here? Can we check now? Nondwe? Machacha? Right, we'll come back to Nondwe in a moment. Nomvano Mketo. Dr. Nomvano Mketo, there you go. Welcome.
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you very much, Chair. I'm Nomvano Mketo, the chair of the Department of Chemistry at UNISA, which is the same position as the head of the department. My biggest challenge, I was recently appointed as the chair of the department 1st of October, so I'm fairly new in this position. Therefore, my biggest challenge is meetings. We have meetings from Monday to Friday, 8 to 4. My question that I have is that when are we going to have time to sit down and actually do the work that we're supposed to be doing? Because I have modules that I need to teach. I have master's and PhD students that I need to supervise, and I still need to manage the department and make sure that we reach the targets that are set up by the college. So that is my biggest challenge. And the second one is the fact that my department is bottom heavy, meaning that I have, I think, around 5 full professors that will be retiring within 3 years. And on top of that, I have 12 emerging academics that are still learning their way within the academia environment. So that is my biggest challenge. Even myself, I'm a senior lecturer, and I still have to manage full professors that are going to tell you that they've been here for so many years, they know what they're doing and all those things. So those are my 3 challenges. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nomvano. I think that's, I suppose that is bottom heavy. I haven't heard that term in a long time. I think it talks to the issues, and that I say one of the 2 things we don't do well in university, amongst other things, but I suppose that stands out for me is performance management, and the other one is succession planning. And you kind of hitting the nail on the head where you're saying you've got this big gap where there's a pipeline or there's emerging potential, academic leadership evolving in your department. but at the other end, there's also a number of professors who are close to retirement. And how do you kind of ensure that there's not a gap, or, you know, that there isn't, when they leave or as they retire, there's this massive gap. So it is quite a challenge. And I think at the end of the day, it's something that we need to probably work on as a system. It is a system issue. It's an issue around, and we talked about the aging kind of professoriate in particular, and that seems to be a sectoral issue. Right. Farfarello Matsatsise.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Morning. I'm Fararo Machize, an HOD in the Department of Indigenous Knowledge Systems and Heritage Studies at the University of Venda. My challenges are pretty much the same as with other colleagues, because, you know, in our institution, since last year, we have been transitioning from schools to faculties. 8 schools have been merged into 4 faculties. Our school was the School of Human and Social Sciences, and it has been merged with the School of Education. So the challenge is that, you know, we are forever in meetings in order to synchronize what was happening in the former School of Human and Social Sciences as well as the School of Education. And on the same vein, we are still required to run, you know, our departments optimally. So my biggest challenge, you know, is that we need to manage and lead, but the work seems overwhelming at times because, you know, you need to juggle around a lot of activities ranging from teaching and learning, community engagement, research and publication. You know, as an HOD, I'm still required to teach on top of the administration work that I'm supposed to execute. So another challenge which really is frustrating is that, you know, we've got virtual meetings. One can attend 4 meetings in one day, and it makes one leg behind on other activities. So you need a balancing act between being an administrator and an academic at the same time. And that is quite challenging. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ferrero. And I think it's interesting, the issue around meetings. One had thought in a digital world that you'd be spending less time. It seems now it's gone the other way, where people in a parallel universe, as my colleague Patrick Fitzgerald refers to it, which was just in 2019, when we had these face-to-face meetings, at least you'd make time and you'd spend time travel or getting to a meeting, so at least had a break in between. Now people seem to be finding ways of slotting back-to-back meetings in your diaries, and it does become, you know, really a huge burden, overwhelming, particularly in having to keep track, as you're saying, in a change process of all the administrations required, while still balancing your academic role. I think often it's a case where you know, you came to the academy because of the love of your discipline, and then because of that and the leadership you've shown in that area, you've now transcended or transitioned into a head of department role, which then takes on this massively administrative, you know. So it is keeping the balance. But we'll talk also about that, you know, you need to step up. But how do you get support, you know, from your team? How do you start looking at ways in providing kind of collective leadership, drawing on those in your team that can support you, especially with some of these administrative burdens that you face? Great, thank you very much for that. Marina Marimatu. Marimatu. Thanks, Farina.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Farina Marimutu. I'm a newly appointed head of department in financial accounting at the Durban University of Technology. I was only appointed on the 1st of April this year as a permanent HOD, so it's not in an acting capacity. For me, the challenges have been time management, because ever since I have taken on this role, I've had to sacrifice a lot in terms of holidays. I've been I've been literally working 7 days a week, 18 hours a day, if I could say it. You know, and I'm not exaggerating. I've missed holidays, I've missed functions because I've let work take over everything. I'm managing a very difficult department, and I'm actually struggling to change the culture in that department. I see myself as a transformative change agent, and I just feel that the staff that I have under me don't have that sort of mindset. So I need some sort of guidance on how to change the culture in that department. Another area for me is the poor admin support. I have issues with my admin support where if I go and give her an instruction and then the next day I get a little bit of attitude where, you know, it's like, you just snub me and things like that. So I don't know how to manage, because I'm such a people's person that always wants to get accepted, because that was me before I took over this role. And I just feel that this position is changing me, where I have to be so much more firmer to get what I want. And sometimes I actually, if I look in the mirror and I look at what this position has done to me in the last 6 months, I'm not liking the person that it's changing me to, but I realize I have to be this way to run a difficult department like this. So those are some of my challenges. And then I also agree with what my colleagues have also said. So it's a lot of those things I've experienced, but these are some of the additional ones that I'm experiencing personally.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Thanks, Verena. I think it's, again, stepping up into that leadership role. It certainly does take on, as I say, that you're going to have to make decisions and do things that may not be popular. You know, you've stepped up to the plate. I think keeping that balance, you must just be wary of that overload becoming too overwhelmed. I think the work-life balance is a challenge for everyone, especially in this kind of digital space, but more so finding ways to, as you change in the culture, looking to people in your department that can support you and getting them to work alongside you as a team. And I think, of course, in terms of your administration, as a leader, you're going to have to deal with that. But I think trying to get to the bottom and ensuring that they all buy into what you're trying to do, it takes time. Change is challenging, but I think you'll find support from this group. You'll learn some skills, some tricks, some tools while you're here. But also, we appreciate the fact that you were so frank, you know, around what are some of the things that you're experiencing. So I think this is a safe space, and we will, through this process, find ways to support you in this job and to keep you there. Hopefully, keep you, sane, so that the wheels don't come off completely. I think you could probably talk to some people like Rowena and others who are still quite energized, and and find ways to still find the job exciting, and how do they do that. But it's good to have you, Verena. And of course, if nothing else, you have some respite here for the next 2.5 days. This is your time. So, invest in yourself and make sure that you get the value or benefit from it. Great. Thank you very much. Okay. Alicia Mabangwana. Alicia? Not here. Alicia, you with us? No? Okay, we'll come back. Stephen Magu. Apologies if I'm pronouncing your surname incorrectly. Stephen, are you with us?
Yes, I'm.
There we go. There you go. Right.
Thank you. Let me see if I can.
Can you reveal? Can you do the great reveal for us? And we don't make sure it's you and not your avatar.
Right. Okay. I'm trying to okay. To switch on my video here.
It's fine. There we go. Okay, we can see the top of your head if you move your screen a bit. There we go. Fantastic.
Okay.
We can see you.
Thank you.
And Winston, we can see Madiba right behind you. Is that Madiba?
Yes, I'm.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm from the University of Nelson Mandela University.
Right, that explains Madiba in your background.
Yes. So I'm the head of department of development studies. Development studies is housed in the Faculty of Business and Economic Sciences. So yeah, as the head of development studies, I feel very new, like what other colleagues are saying, because I only started on the 1st of January 2021. Now the time is flying, but we cannot notice it because we've been working virtually. So I know my leadership in the virtual context, in the virtual environment. So we have had very minimal face-to-face meetings with colleagues. So it's almost 100% communication virtually. So yeah, there are challenges of managing or leading in uncertain environments where you don't know what is going to happen next. With students sometimes, getting sick, or you have such kind of challenges where, students are failing to cope with their studies because they're complaining about connectivity, they are complaining about sickness, they are complaining about, poor gadgets that are not promoting their success. So new challenges. And but on the other hand, I find myself enjoying the switching between meetings, with quite a number of campuses. So during the face-to-face meetings, you would rush from one campus and drive very fast to the next campus for another meeting. But I find it comfortable now. I don't have very fast. I'm just at the same place and I switch to the next meeting. So I'm coming from the meeting now, a school meeting that we had, and switched into this one, the 10 o'clock one. So we started at 9. So it's like, it's sweet in terms of switching, but it has got challenges as well. Because of load shedding, we also have those kinds of challenges. So there are also challenges in terms of managing staff turnover, where because of institutional constraints, where you find that there are policies that sometimes that are not flexible. They don't allow a lot of flexibility. And for instance, you lose a staff member who holds a doctorate, and now you want to recruit a new one, but the policy says this post requires, the minimum requirement is someone with an honors. So it's very funny. So you find yourself in a situation where you have to recruit someone with the lowest acceptable qualification into your department. So it's like crumbling the system where you thought the department is growing, but because of resignations, you find someone, you have to take up a new person who you need to train again. So those are some of the challenges that we are facing. We're also facing budgetary constraints. Although on the other hand, we have also managed to budget on the other line items where traveling has been minimized, catering has been minimized. So, the pandemic has brought both advantages and disadvantages, and also embracing technology. Some people are not kind of running together with us when it comes to technology, so we have to drive them. So those are some of the new challenges that we are facing. But overall, I'm enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to benefit from experienced leaders and managers in education. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Stephen. I think you and some of the other newbies, you're still very excitable and positive. You're probably still in your honeymoon phase, I guess, in the job. we would say. And so I think, but on a serious note, you're right. There's been some benefits. Technology has kind of taken the stress out of this kind of crazy commuting and, you know, running from one meeting to the next. But as I say, the flip side is, as some of the other colleagues have mentioned, I see the same thing. I try not to be quite my own diary management. There's certain days when I'm saying I'm not going to do meetings because I need to do these things, and I refuse to be part of it unless it's an emergency or urgent matter, because I think that's what you're seeing. But I think also you'll find the issue of HR, and that's kind of the big challenge for an HOD. I mean, you want the best people in your team. And as you say, you're crossing swords with the good people in HR because the policy says a particular level, but it's your call to make. And you'll see that at the end of the day, when we do people management in more detail in Helm part 2, there's a part 2 to the foundations of leadership where we deal with change. Patrick Fitzgerald talks quite extensively about strategic planning, and then we spend quite a bit of time on people management. What your role and responsibilities are in leading people as an HOD, you know, and how you should be finding ways to push back to those policies that perhaps don't make sense or not in alignment with what you're trying to achieve in your department. But yeah, and good to have you, Stephen. Right, moving on. We're conscious of the time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Nomanesi Madikizela. Nomanesi.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
There you go. We can see you. Welcome.
There I am. Good morning to everybody. I am the chair of Department of Educational Foundations in the University of South Africa. It looks like people have taken all my frustrations. Part of it is actually comforting because now I know that I'm not alone.
You're not alone. You'll never walk alone here. You'll never walk alone here.
I thought this was my problem alone. The issue of meetings that since actually the start of the COVID issues, we don't know which time is for work and which time is ours for our social beings. We are ever working. There's just a blurring of which time is for work and which time is for my family. Somebody else mentioned something about learning on track, that of having not been trained, but you're just thrown there. Yeah. And also the issue of managing extremes. In the College of Education, we have staff members that come from schools. They are new, they're just been teachers in the schools where you just reproduce textbooks that are prescribed. So now what I am struggling with in that regard is dependence. That these colleagues tend to be dependent on those that are experienced, who actually are leaving the system because they are retiring. So that thing, it becomes a challenge. But in addition to what everybody else has said, the other challenge about this distance between the colleagues and everything else is the uncertainty of, I would say, lack of trust that comes with its challenges. For example, if a support staff member says, I'm not able to do 1, 2, 3 because my connectivity is not going well. So that comes to you as the manager of the department because somebody needs to be supported somehow. Now the person tells you, I can't get hold of so-and-so. And then you try to contact so-and-so privately. So-and-so says, I'm not connected. Then what do you do? Because everybody is up on you to solve that problem. So those are the challenges. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nomanesi. I think I mean, what you've summed up, it's really around, as a HOD, no one trained you to manage by remote. And it's often a challenge when things are beyond your control. For example, the example you made around staff saying they are not connected or they have connectivity issues, and how do you test that, and how do you determine whether that's real or whether it's an excuse? And so that where you kind of have a situation where it's very difficult over and above the overwhelming environment that you're in. What technology has done is to provide another layer of administrative kind of complexity that you have to deal with. I guess that these days now that comes with the territory. But good, thanks, Nomanesi. Dumisani Mabunda.
Thank you.
Dumisani.
So much. Let me try and show my face.
If you can, that would be great.
Can you see my
We
face?
need to verify you for auditing purposes.
Yeah, just give me a sec. I want to try and show. I'm using an external video. The laptop that I'm using don't have a video, so
okay.
I'm struggling a bit. But because
no, that's fine. You can speak. We know it's you now.
Yeah.
We'll do voice verification.
Let me speak, and then I'll try to show my face later on.
Thanks,
just to try and
Dumisani.
save time. Thank you very much. My name is Dumisani Quiet Mabunda. I'm the acting COD of Police Practice Department at the College of Law. Mine is a different story. The previous COD jumped ship, and then I was called to rescue everyone from drown. I was thrown in a deep end. There was no handing over, so I'm swimming in deep waters. But I think I can share a lot of things that colleagues have already indicated. There are many challenges that we are facing as leaders. I think there's a leadership vacuum in many institutions in South Africa. So when you are called in to rescue the situation, you need to use everything at your disposal to show that you are the leader that the institution was waiting for. So I think in every crisis, there are opportunities. So we just need to look at these opportunities and run with them. One of the biggest challenge I've seen or heard colleagues from UNISA trying to speak, and then they were cut here and there. I'm just now at the institution, the main campus of UNISA, but the ICT is unstable. You can imagine leading people in various geographic areas in South Africa where the reception is not that good. So if I'm struggling and I'm in the main campus because the ICT of our university is not a reliable source, so difficult. One of the biggest challenge that worries me is these days there are many people at a short they expect you to attend all of these meetings, and you have to juggle from one administration, leadership, management, and research, which the university is crying or complaining that their research is not that good. Where do you get time to sit and think and write an academic paper that will be submitted in a high impact journal? What you can do, because you still need to do all the responsibilities, you can rush a paper which will be rejected, and it frustrates you more and more as an academic. So I think, most of the challenges that colleagues have indicated are common to many of us.
Thanks, Dumisani. And I know what you're talking about. I was previously at UNISA, and I think that's the kind of size of UNISA, and especially now with online teaching and learning with your students, spread across the country, but also in other parts of the world. That is a unique challenge for you at UNISA. But I like your analogy, Dumisani, but also your positive attitude. You kind of be drowning the ship is sinking, you know, but I think you seem to be, you sound like a great captain, you know, because I know the captain, you know, is the last one to leave a drowning ship, or sometimes even goes down with the ship. So good on you for that. I think it's encouraging. I think in these times, I must mention, colleagues, the kind of constant refrain is this work-life balance, how things are becoming more overwhelming. It's deeply encouraging for someone that's been in the higher education sector for more than 2 decades to see that you are still positive in the work that you do. And I think I would say to my colleagues, if our universities fail, and I think that was particularly evident in this kind of COVID period with those kind of complexities and challenges we face. If our universities fail, then the country failed. So we really have to hold it all together. And often, you know, it's you. I mean, you at the chalk face, it's you in your position where they say the rubber hits the tar. So kudos to you for hanging in there, but just not hanging in there, but keeping the ship afloat, Dumesani. Okay, moving on. David Lockhart.
Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, everyone. Hi, my name is David Lockhart. I'm an associate professor in the discipline of chemical engineering at the University of KwaZulu-Natal, and I'm also the academic leader in that department. I came into that role probably about 6 months before the pandemic hit. So I had a nice honeymoon phase.
A baptism of fire, in more ways than one.
I had a nice honeymoon phase, and then we got deep into it. And my issue obviously was that I didn't get that period where I could then, you know, integrate my ideas effectively into the department and see my vision through. It was very reactionary, you know. Everything that happened over the last 2 years was, let's get the ship, you know, going in a certain direction that we can actually, you know, salvage things. And now we are kind of emerging from that. And the question that I have now is that, you know, are those frameworks and strategies for leadership that were there pre-COVID, are those really there now? Leadership and management at the universities post-COVID. The major issue for me over that past 2 years was you know, having to deal with this kind of micromanagement, because individuals weren't in place. There was probably a little bit less accountability in terms of your subordinates, having to absorb pressure from, you know, high levels within the university structures. These are obviously and will be continuing to be challenges as we go forward. But the question is now, how do we go forward from there? And do we need to write new rules with regards to this leadership and management in the new world? On a personal level, it was also quite difficult for me in my department. I've got several senior academics that sit outside my direct line management. And it's hard to manage their kind of very strong opinions on certain issues. I mean, specifically when it comes to, you know, teaching and learning and research during these hard times of the COVID pandemic. So yeah, those are the challenges that I faced, but forever optimistic and you know, ready to do the work and get things done. And I believe that, you know, none of us that are here in these positions today are here because we were forced to take them up. We're here obviously to make a difference to the institutions and you know, give them some of our positivity.
Yeah, I agree with you, and thanks, David, for those insights. I mean, I think you'll see when we talk about leadership in the next 2.5 days, it's a choice that one's made. You know, no one sort of kind of, as David says, forced you into the position. You made a choice, and now it's time to step up. It's not easy to do that because, as I mentioned earlier, you're getting pressure from the bottom and pressure from the top, and keeping that balance for yourself personally and professionally. That's probably one of the most complex issues that you face. But I think also in this period, people used to say, well, we talked about earlier in the early days of COVID, we talked about a new normal. I don't even think we know what normal is anymore, you know. So I think the COVID, the pandemic is going to be something we'll probably have to live with for the rest of our days. in higher education and learn to manage it. As someone said, you never waste a good crisis. So it is a crisis that we're getting on top of. I think we generally, the view, I think the experience has been we're in a much better shape now than we were 18 months ago. We're getting on top of this, but it's not easy. And I think that's where your leadership role is key, but also finding ways to support your management function as an HOD. Great, thanks very much, David. Nelisiwe Kuzwayo. Nelisiwe, are you with us? There you go. And you're appearing. There you go. We see you. There you go. Welcome. Good to see you.
Thank you very much. Morning, colleagues. Yes, I am acting HOD in the discipline of public health medicine at UKZN. Wow, I started this role last month.
Oh.
Can you imagine? I was coming from another discipline. It was like everybody do not want this position at all. I was wondering, what is it? Why? And I was like comfortable because it was my first month anyway in the department. So I received this call like from the dean, who is currently my line manager now. And I was shocked. So I wasn't forced, but I wasn't assertive enough to say no. So I had to take it because actually in our school, there is no one that wants this leadership position. So I'll tell you why. The reason is it seems it's so difficult to manage academic activities, like striking a balance between academic activities and admin. And this HOD position, like most of it is admin, because I'm I had headache on my first few weeks, and such that my line manager said, no, Nelly, relax. I will take you to, you have to attend this course as an induction, because I was approving like 20 documents a day. Employment is, if they want to employ someone, I must approve. I can't put my signature there without reading that. So I had to do that. The other stress I was having initially is the process of employment of honorary position. New employment appointment is not a trace match, because at least you negotiate with that person. But the problem now is renewals. You know, honorary lecturers will say, we will do this and that, then they get lost for 3 years. So now when they are back, they haven't done anything besides supervision. So approving that, taking that application to my colleagues, you know, my colleagues are very vocal. So it is a challenge, and I'm still working on that. The other thing that, as much as my colleagues have already mentioned most of other things, but the other thing that I wish to mention is this online exam. Wow. Exam integrity. You know, you find out that, you know, how do I manage that? Because, you know, all from January, we're using Turnitin when the students are submitting. But now when you're doing online exam, we didn't think about introducing that system to manage that integrity. So that's the problem. Oh, the other scary part is when I have to manage conflict management between my colleagues now and the student. They are supervising. So sometimes I feel like I can wear my DMAS, you know, especially when I noticed, when I'm listening to this process of resolving this, and I noticed that no, actually my colleague is at fault. He has been like lost for months. He hasn't been responding to a student. So I find out that it is a difficult process to address. And you know, at UKZN, like other universities, there are these PUs, there is this guideline, there are these expectations from academics to say you must publish so many papers, you need these PUs, you know. We are, as an emerging lecturer, because I'm a senior lecturer, so I've already had my my plan to say, okay, around this time of the year, I need to prepare for next year, so that by June at least there are 2 or 1, there is a paper or 1 paper published. But now the problem is now that I'm currently acting, I can't concentrate at all. I have to approve this procurement process. I have to sign paper, employment. I have to approve procurement deals and so many admin related activities. So, but at the end of the day, I am approving it because I like it, because they are conveners of all the modules. So for me is to just say, oh, okay, all right, how about doing this? So I like that part. Thank you very much.
Right, that's fantastic, Nelly, and you're still smiling. I mean, I know it's difficult when you step up, and that's the thing, you're going to have to step up every time, but you by your own ambition, you say, you know, you need to become more assertive, and you somehow you find ways to put boundaries in place, because I think what colleagues are also saying, you can't, you're expected to be all things to all people. I think in biblical terms, you need the wisdom of Solomon and the patience of Job in this job. And it's not easy for one person. So we hopefully you'll find just not solace in this to the time that we spend here in the Foundations of Leadership program. But as I mentioned earlier, hopefully you'll pick up some new knowledge around your leadership and management role, but also hopefully some tricks and some tools that you can use to get better and stay positive and stay excited. Right, Andile. Khati. Andile.
Good day, everyone. My name is Andile Khati, and I'm the academic leader for the theme Human Body Form and Function. And what that basically is just I am the head of department for human physiology and human anatomy at UKZN. We are I started in an acting position in May 2019, and then I served, and then I started officially in December 2019. So we are a lab-based team. We've got anatomy and we've got physiology. You know, we do all our work in the labs. So my number one problem is working from home, because we need to be on campus. We need to be in the labs. For the undergraduate students, they need to be doing practicals, and then for the postgraduate students, they need to be in the labs doing their experiments as well. So that's my number one problem. And then also from a staff point of view, we've got a number of staff that are quite advanced in their age, and they've got a number of comorbidities, so they can't come to campus and they can't be there. So this sort of, you know, puts on a bit of a problem when they have to be there, because they have to be in the lab, but they can't be there because of their conditions with the whole working from home thing. So my number one problem is working from home. And then from a personal perspective, my number two problem is I'm relatively young in the department. We've got a number of quite a senior people in the department, and I was sort of thrown in the deep end, but I've enjoyed it so far. But the biggest problem that comes with being young in the department is trying to usher in change when there's been things that have been done for years and years, and then when you try to introduce new things, and then you're met with a bit of resistance from the senior academics, and they tell you, no, but we've been doing this thing for 10 years, and then now with COVID, and all these situations that we've got going on, change is inevitable. So there's trying to strike a balance between what to keep, what to introduce, and how do we introduce this whole innovation into our teaching and learning as well as our research. So those are my two major problems in terms of leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Andile. I think the issue of it's come up also, the kind of generation gap between you starting out as you know, and your established professors in particular. Since I mean, we had instances in one of our previous sessions where someone said, some of the people I now lead were my professors, you know, so how do I assert my leadership role in that respect? But I think it's something that comes with time. You didn't just decide one morning to wake up on deal and decide, it'd be nice to be the HOD in this department. You went through quite a rigorous process to get there. And I think you're there on your own merits. And I think you've got to stick to the cause. I think change is inevitable and it's not easy. We spend quite a bit of time on change management in Foundations of Leadership Part 2, and Patrick will kind of talk you through, you know, that kind of experiences and how people react to that, especially the communication part of it. But I think ultimately it comes down to trust, you know. Again, you're in intellectual knowledge space and people recognize that leadership you provide, but your change, you sort of, at some point you think, okay, I've got to introduce this incrementally, or in other points, you said, we don't do the bloodletting, we just let the blood flow, so it's just like striking the balance between those two. And I think you're getting there. The fact that the recognition of the challenge that you face, it's important, and find people in your team that think like you, that you can lean on. It could be part of your kind of trust, you know what I mean, in a circle that you can share or bounce with. If not, you don't find that in your own department, here's a whole group of people that could support you, as fellow HODs, and it's sometimes good just to test something outside of your own frame, you know what I mean, with somebody that's unbiased, that doesn't have an interest in your job and how you're performing, as an HOD. I think that's an opportunity that you should be using. Great, and thanks for that, Andile. Armstrong. There you go, and it seems like you're somewhere in space. Are you joining us from an orbit or a universe out there somewhere? Please turn on you need to unmute.
Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning, Armstrong.
Good morning. My name is Armstrong Kajamatimba. You can call me AK, not AK-47, but AK. Thank you.
Thank you, AK.
I'm from the University of Venda. I'm currently the Dean of Management Sciences. But one of the most challenging issues is that we are in the transition from schools into faculties. So you can see already there's a challenge where we are merging two schools into one, School of Law and School of Management Sciences into one. And there are some departments which are being collapsed into smaller units. And there's a challenge where people have got different views and dynamics which need to be changed. Another issue, a challenge which we are facing also, is the issue of the provision of the online teaching, and taking into consideration the area we are the rural based. So not all our students have got those facilities to utilize when you are having online. And that is a challenge which we are faced with. And also, we recently had another challenge whereby this COVID issue, some of our students had, they liked the issue of this assessment where there's no written assessment. So we tried to introduce integrated written assessment. The students refused. So we had to reverse back so that we can finish the semester. So these are some of the dynamics which are a big challenge. And change management is another issue which we need, whether we like it or not, because both going online and merging of this into the faculties. Thank you.
Thank you very much, AK. I think the issue of assessment, and you're right, I think has come up a few times, online assessments. We, in one of our projects called ULEFU, University Learning Futures Project, we're working with HDIs, and it's come up consistently as the integrity and the quality and assurance of online assessments. And that's not just a problem in it's a problem in all universities. So that's something we certainly will be looking at as part of that project, and supporting our universities and seeing how some universities have managed it and sharing those experiences. So, but I think for you and your colleagues from Venda, you're in the right place, because when you do the Palmer case study on Friday, please go and read that case study. You'll find some resonance around schools becoming faculties and things merging, and people, all sorts of stuff happening based on real life experiences of the person who presents the case to you. And so that's going to be really good for all of us. I would say at this point, please spend time and read that, because it does really help in trying to organize yourself and thinking, especially when you're going through quite a extensive change management process within your university. And of course, where people are involved, there's another additional layer of complexity. So it's good to have you, AK, and we look forward to you being here with your colleagues, and especially the fact that you're joining us from Venda. The fact that you're here and connected, that's fantastic. We're really happy about that. Good to have you. Thank you very much. Collier.
Thank you.
Collier Jansen van Vieren.
Yes, good morning,
Good morning,
to Oliver
Corlia.
and all the other colleagues. I'm Corlia van Vieren. I'm the head of the School of Health and Rehabilitation Sciences at the University of the Free State. And I don't know if one goes last, whether it's easier or more difficult. So I can do a lot of the things that people say, just say ditto. I totally agree with a lot of things, but I think for me, my personality, my leadership style leads a lot towards strategic management and strategic thinking. And I think that is the difficult thing when you're in a position like this. You sort of move away from your strengths and get caught up in the day-to-day things. So I think rather than a challenge, I would say my biggest wish is to have time to apply those creative minds and creative thoughts that you like. And people also spoke about a vision and those kind of things. And when you start, you really have a vision. But then along the lines, you just get caught up in the day-to-day things. And before you see, a year is gone and you haven't realized a lot of things. I think the other big challenge is finances, always in higher education, and that goes with strategy. So to maybe have the time to apply for funding and those kind of things to make your strategy being realized, that would be another wish. So yes, but I must say, I also like the notion of what a lot of people said, now is the time for change. And I've also realized with the people, they more likely or more open-minded for change currently. And I think that is a big lever that we should use as managers currently. And I must say, I've tried to really do that because people are much more open for change currently. And I'm just afraid that we might lose that opportunity in a year or two once people have settled in again. So yes, also very excited to be here. Very nice to once again hear that I'm not the only one struggling with balance, struggling with processes and all of those things. So thank you also for the opportunity.
Yeah, I think you raised, Corlia, and thanks for those insights. You raised some very important, I think, I suppose it's kind of, as an academic, you're kind of always thinking, you know, your work is largely intellectual, you know what I mean? And you're kind of future oriented, and then you land in a position where it's day to day, kind of just everything comes on, it has to move, you know what I mean? So you lose a bit of yourself and who you are as an academic, you know, as a knowledge worker, as an intellectual. But I agree with you that opportunity for I think as a manager, also a head of department, your strategy needs to be adaptable and flexible, you know what I mean? So that you can use the opportunities you say. I mean, I think you spot on when you say, if I want to look at how, in some respects, I call myself a bit of a fossil when it comes to technology, but you know, how we embraced, I mean, one moment we were doing face-to-face contact sessions in Helm, and the very next moment we shift to the other end, you know what I mean, to online. And I think getting into that space and seeing the potential and not just becoming comfortable with technology as a medium, but also confident. So I think that other opportunities and of course, as you say, the issue around the money, the purse is getting smaller and smaller, you know, so we've got to be innovative, you know, in some respects, as academic leaders, we need to be entrepreneurial in our thinking, in the way we find ways to grow the work that we do. And Patrick will talk about that when we do the show me the money session tomorrow, which is really exciting because you can see, you know, what possibilities there are for you in your academic leadership role. So good to have you, and thanks for that call. Is Shanaz Guman. Is Shanaz here with us?
Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Yes, there you go. You're coming, you're still appearing from the cloud.
Exactly. It's technology. I'm too old for this.
No, but we can, yeah, you see, we can see you
Where am
now.
I?
So no worry, you're getting there.
Hi, Oliver. Hello, everyone. I'm Shanaz, and my background is public health. I've been an academic for over 30 years now, and I've got 5 teenagers at university, so I can easily align with students.
Yeah, that's good. That's great. You got in your own backyard, you've got some exemplars. Yeah.
All across the country.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I've worked at 3 higher education institutions in South Africa, and I've been here through the times of mergers and the changing of names, etc. And it has been a great challenge. And I think I don't have sleepless nights anymore because I've been through the mill and back as an HOD these years. And I think a lot of the older academics will understand this, that it's not been easy at all. And I think the thing that Oliver brought up was trust. For me, the greatest challenge of the changes in higher education brought a lot of distrust with it. Unfortunately, it brought together institutions of differing calibers and so forth, and DUT being one of them, where I currently am. And people always questioned the need for this that was brought upon from the time of Minister Kader Asmal. And fortunately, when I became HOD of Community Health Studies many years ago, Prof. Bauer was our Vice Chancellor at the time. And he was excellent in introducing the leaders, not just the HODs, but the leaders of his support departments into leadership training at the time. Of course, a lot has changed since then, and I've been asked to lead another department of the institution in the last few years, which is somatology, also in the Faculty of Health Sciences. And the dynamics are very different now, colleagues, and much of what you said, I can align with. I've experienced them, I've been through them, and people management is a major issue always, will never cease. Finance management twofold, being the fact that the department is on tight strings when it comes to finances, and students are encountering financial issues with the NSFAS, and a lot of protests are encountered in KZN, especially at our sister universities regularly. So we have to deal with these in terms of time, in terms of COVID issues. And the current department that I'm in is a small department of academic staff. And we have a clinic affiliated with it. So this brings in third income or third stream income for the department, which assists with a lot of resources to buy technology and special skilled equipment and so forth. But we constantly have a battle of trying to access funds from the university itself to be able to sustain our students' training. So there are more students than equipment available, unfortunately. That's my greatest challenge. So I would say when it comes to people, I've learned that each and every one of them are unique. They have to be dealt with as unique individuals, with their potentials, with their inadequacies and deficiencies. And as a leader, you need to be able to empower them. You need to put them together in a jigsaw as a whole to function effectively in the department. And that's the most important thing. So sorry.
Thanks, Shanaz. Thank you very much. Sorry that I stopped you in mid-sentence. I was going to say that, all that experience that you've got in the various departments, you could be the go-to people for all the newbies in this group, So you could double up in the mentorship role for them, and especially because you've been there, you've seen it all, you've come through kind of various eras of the universities. I must tell you on a serious note, when Size and Shape was implemented early 2000 with the mergers, I said back then, one of your biggest challenges around this restructuring of our education sector was going to be the people issues. And in some respects, it still is. So anyway, but it's good to have you here, and we're happy that you can join us. I think it's fantastic that you
I'm here because I believe in lifelong learning, and I believe that others here have a lot to teach me too. Thank you.
Fantastic, and good to have you. I think also, that brings me to the point of the shared dynamic, the shared experience of this you'll find when we put you in your groups from tomorrow, when you work on different activities, you learn from each other as much as you hopefully learn from us, and we will then learn from you. So thanks very much for that, Shana. Michael, thank you. Michael, we need to move on. I'm conscious of time, Michael.
Okay. Thank you, colleagues. I am Michael Gebrselassie, academic leader of geography at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. I started this position this year from April. I wasn't willing to take the position, but colleagues from the department, they pushed me.
They volunteered. They volunteered you, Michael.
They pushed me.
Yeah,
and,
sorry.
My biggest problem in the department is the structure of this college, school, the management, the mismatch of resource between the number of students and the resource. And the resource is not managed at the department or cluster level. So you have to take the problem and request the school management and college management. And it's very depressing to go back to the department with a negative answer that we don't have budget, we don't have resource. So the budget is not managed at the department level. So going up to the hierarchy and coming up with a negative response, it really discouraged me to take that news to the department.
Yep. I think thanks very much for that, Michael. I think in the financing budgeting issue, as I mentioned earlier, you now as academic leader, as a department, you have to do more with less, but there's still innovative ways to do that. I think also the fact that you know what's in the best interest of your department. So in a sense, you're providing that leadership to the top, but as you say, also ensuring from the bottom that you're supporting, the work that your colleagues are trying to achieve. So you're in the right place, and we'll spend a bit of time also on that tomorrow. I'm talking around in the session on Show Me the Money on how to deal with some of the issues you face, making friends
outside
with your finance, not just outside, but with your finance colleagues, and your HR colleagues. So that what we call matrix management is also one of the roles the tricks or the tools that we like to help you with as HOD. But thanks, Michael. And
thank you.
Sam February.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Sam February. I'm the head of department of the Graduate School of Nelson Mandela Business School. I've been in that position for 5 months now. I am very excited. I think the only challenge that I have is the mindset of the people. And I also carry a lot of institutional baggage, and it prohibits people from moving forward. And I believe that if I can remove that baggage, and if I can make people see things differently, and remove all the historic value that we sort of latch onto, I think we could be a really great graduate school of business. But I mean, I have the exact same challenges as everyone else. I run at 200% constantly. I'm up at 3 every morning just to get through. And I am a full-time lecturer as well. Research, teaching, supervising, the exact same challenges that you have. But I am positive. And if we can shift the culture within my department, I think we would have won it all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Sam. And again, I think you're on this journey for change. And I mean, that's part of it, just bringing people along in your leadership role. So I think you'll find, as I say, you'll find not just encouragement here, but also you'll pick up the dynamic and support from some of your colleagues and the kind of experiences that we'll be sharing. So it's really good to have you, Sam. Thank you.
Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you. Christy De Beer, I see you there already.
I'm being super efficient today.
Well, excellent. That's probably one of the traits of a good HOD, super efficiency and managing, says Sam says, being up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't know what time you go to bed, Sam, but hopefully it's not. Anyway, Christy, over to you. Thank you very much.
My name is Crystal De Beer. I'm the Senior Manager of the Research Enterprise at the Institute of Infectious Disease and Molecular Medicine. We're a research institute based in the Faculty of Health Sciences at the University of Cape Town. So we're not involved in undergraduate teaching and learning. So I've not been experiencing the same challenges as some of the colleagues on this call. I think, obviously, in infectious disease, we've been pivoting all our research to focus on COVID. Many people have been working 16 hours a day, 7 days a week for 20 months straight now, not taking leave, not stopping. And so my challenges are twofold. On the softer side of things, I think amongst my colleagues, there's this desire for things to return to normal, but normal being defined as the way it was before COVID. And it's a perception that I need to manage, because the reality is things will never go back to the way they were before COVID. Things have fundamentally and permanently changed. And I think part of that desire for things to go back to normal is because everyone is so overworked and overburdened and mentally and emotionally exhausted. And they think if they can just hold on to this idea that things will return to normal, that kind of gets them through the day. And it's a difficult perception to manage, because it's not true, and they're holding on to a fallacy that may disappoint them, you know, in the long run. So that's the one side of things. And then the other side of things, on a more sort of harder side of things, is funding. The funding landscape locally and internationally has changed significantly. We're a research institute, so a lot of our members are primarily soft funded and struggling to get by, struggling to make ends meet. And you know, part of my job is finding ways to raise funding, and it's very, very challenging at this time. And so yeah, I think the where's the money? Show me the money session tomorrow. It's going to be very helpful for me.
Yeah, you'll be taking copious notes, and you need to test. You need to test Patrick around some of your own experiences, so you could relate to that, you know, in that session. So I think it's good, and thanks for joining, Kirsty, and thanks for those insights. I think also the well-being, I think, and the expectations of staff. It's a kind of case where mental health is becoming a challenge, not just for students but for staff as well. And also, I think it's a kind of natural, you know, kind of always survivalist approach, where we kind of want to go back to the default setting, you know what I mean, which we were familiar with. And we're all waiting patiently for the day where we can just reboot and go back to default, you know what I mean? But as you say, and rightfully so, what's the future? What's normal? Already people are banding for IR, and, you know, the digital university and all of that stuff, you know, and I think it can be kind of envisioning a future where we normally, I mean, although our education system hasn't been one of the most stable, you know what I mean, in the world, but at least there was some sense of normality and there was a rhythm, you know. We knew at the beginning of the year there was some protests around, you know, fee increases and so on. So it was always a cycle, but with COVID, everything is up for grabs, and the world has changed quite dramatically. But thanks for that, and thanks for your inputs, Christy. Right, Ajira Davids.
Morning, everyone.
Sorry, good morning.
Alternative device number 2 now. I'm load shedding still.
All right, but we can see you, so we're connecting. That's fantastic. So okay. Yeah, that's good contingency planning. You got a plan A, B, and C. Good for you. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm currently the head of Department of Human Physiology at Nelson Mandela University. And the department was born out of a little bit of an acrimonious divorce from another department.
Yeah.
And so when I took over, there were all of these space challenges, equipment challenges, staffing challenges, etc. And 3 years down the line, we still haven't exactly split off in terms of having our own space. The other department has backtracked on the agreements that we had in place when the negotiations were taking place. So it's been challenging in the sense that I don't feel that I've ever had a honeymoon period in the HOD position, because I've just been in divorce straight out. So it's been hard, and I think the disconnect between upper management and us on the ground is what really is a bit disparaging, because there is just no support. And where the academic program is so flexible, or needing to be flexible and having to change and adapt and have your ABC plans in place, the rest of the departments that you are interacting with, like HR and finances and procurement, etc., there's no flexibility in their policies whatsoever. And so we academic years maybe running to maybe 2022, for instance, the financial year will end in 2021. And so there's no carryover and there's no flexibility. And I think that gets a little bit too much at the end of the day, because you expected to create miracles out of nothing. And terms that they use, like your humanizing pedagogies or your pedagogical approaches that you have, doesn't seem to be directed at you. So it's to the students, it's to your upper management, and they forget that the middle management staff are human as well, facing the same challenges that the next person is. With COVID and losing colleagues, there was just never a time for us to pause, you know, and to come to terms with the loss. We were just made to continue. And when we go back to, I'm not even going to say the norm, when we have our face-to-face meetings and we don't see our colleagues anymore, that used to be present in the meetings and contribute. I don't see any plans in place to assist us in that, because that is such an emotional drain. And I'm here to re-energize, because I feel completely deflated. And I see the younger colleagues, because now I'm feeling like I actually fall into those older academic categories. And I'm here to just grab on some energy to keep me going, because it's been a journey and it's been demoralizing from the start to the end so far. And so I'm hoping that I can get some positivity in the group. So if I zap your energy, it's because I need it. And I'm just very grateful to be here and to take some time out of the daily rat run.
Thank you, and thanks so much, Ajira. I think it's really for me, it's moving that someone shares at this level, you know, and I can hear the kind of reflection that you're having around. I need to do this, and I need to talk. I need to be engaged. You know, this is a safe space. This is a supportive space, and you can moan and you can, you know, share, and you can, you know, draw as much as you like from the people that are here, because this is why you're spending time in this space. I think it's also one of the things I talked about. We're still having to deal with the trauma of COVID, especially the people side of it. I think I've been to a number of memorial services for some of our colleagues that have passed on because of COVID, and in some respects I've been deeply concerned. I mean, sometimes even horrified how desensitized we've become within the academy to human loss, you know, and the kind of experiences you say, you throw out these terms of humanizing and human-centered, but it's just become sometimes mere sort of sloganism or phraseology or terminology, and do we really mean that? And I think so. It's time to step back. I mean, and there's been some studies done on this kind of mental impact, the trauma of COVID, having to deal with grieving and loss of life. And this was not just for the individual, but for the academy as a whole. Some of the people that have passed on, you know, have been leading lights in scholarship, and so I think it's time to bring that back. For you being here, I think you're very brave and courageous to come into this space to say, no, I'm going to do this, and I would encourage you to stay with us for these 2.5 days and to hear and listen, and of course post this, stay connected with some of your colleagues, as I mentioned earlier. If you're not getting that support within your university, here's the space. Here are some colleagues who are certainly willing, given their experience and been down this road much further, and have faced very similar challenges and have struggled with many similar struggles in their own leadership journey that you can draw on. So thanks for that, Ajira. Right, Shakespeare. Shakespeare, I saw you earlier. Are you still with us? Chipambo? He may have dropped off. Let's see if we come back to Shakespeare in a bit. Emma Ayesu. Emma, is Emma with us?
Yes, I am.
Great. There you go. Okay.
Okay. Well, it's afternoon now. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Emma Ayese Corenting from the Nelson Mandela University, and I'm acting HOD of the Department of Building and Human Settlement Development. I actually should be the HOD now. I'm just waiting for my letter of appointment. But
well done.
So far, thank you. So far, the challenges I think has been highlighted by everybody. You know, the academic integrity from students, the data challenges, losing a colleague, oh, that was quite a blow. This person was a mentor to me, I mean, like a father. Also, some of the challenges is, you know, managing, you know, elderly staff members who were people that actually taught me when I was a student. So having to manage all of that. But so far, I've been in the position for like 3 months. So I'm still on honeymoon right now, and we'll see how it goes. All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Emma. It's good to have you join us. And as I'm saying, you got some friends here because others who are similar like you are newbies, and they will certainly, you know, you can walk along, we can walk this journey together. Then Jogimal Alex.
It's good. Good morning,
Hello,
Oliver
how are you?
and colleagues.
Good to see you.
Thank you so much. I mean, I'm Georgie Alex. I'm the head of the Department for Mathematics, Natural and Consumer Sciences Education from Walter Sisulu University. I came into this position almost a year ago in the midst of COVID, so you can see my challenges also. So in terms of challenges, I can say all the above challenges or some of the above challenges mentioned by others. My biggest thing is, I would say, is that, as I mentioned, I'm heading 2 programs in 2 campuses, mathematics and science in one campus and consumer sciences in the other campus. So it is, and both of these programs, they don't have anything in common. And also both of these programs, they need lab facilities, etc. So quite a bit of a challenge in that. But thanks to my university and my new vice chancellor, they're in the process of consolidating the faculties and also renovating the facilities. So very soon, I believe that all my challenges will disappear and I will be able to contribute to my maximum. Then on a different note, I can say that I'm a kind of a person 24 hours into it. Very eager to learn and fast in communicating, etc. But I do not see that from some of my colleagues. They can disappear for quite a long while. So, and I have got this. So I wonder where they are sometimes, you know. So when things need to be done, when submissions need to be done, I feel that that kind of, you know, fastness is not coming in from quite a few of them. So I also kind of remind them of the emails and WhatsApp messages and even phone calls. Still, some of the documents and things may not happen at the right, I mean, I would say the time that is needed. So that's the challenge.
Right. Thank you very much.
Otherwise, I'm fine and happy.
I am happy that you're happy, and we're really happy your new vice chancellor is looking to support a team, you know, especially when you are challenged, like you mentioned. I think also one of the skill sets you will have to develop as a HOD is intelligence. So, you know, when your people go COVID on you, when they go undercover, you must be able to find ways to uncover them, make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. It goes back to the earlier comment I made around remote management. But great that you can join us all the way from Walter Sisulu. Right, colleagues, I think that we missed out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Alicia, are you back, Alicia? I know you may have dropped off. If not, and then Dr. Shakespeare Chipambo, have you managed to join us again? I think we've lost Shakespeare, so again, we can attribute that to load shedding. Colleagues, I think this is the end of the introductions. I just wanted to, because since we, you know, kind of do this as a team, I asked my colleagues, Patrick Fitzgerald, any sort of comments that you'd like to make on these introductory, introductions from the staff, Patrick?
Thanks, Oliver. and welcome, colleagues. Listening to you was fascinating, to say the least, but I think people's comments taken together probably encapsulates quite well. I may just be brightening up. My power is just coming back from 2.5 hours load shedding. Encapsulates quite well the sort of landscape of higher education challenges currently. I'm reminded of that famous novel, Latin American novel by Marquez, Love in the Age of Cholera. It seems what we're doing now is leadership and management development in the age of COVID. It's true, and some people have alluded to it, that we had a whole set of higher education challenges before there was COVID. And they haven't gone away, but now we have this transversal overlay of the pandemic that contextualizes everything in the light of COVID. And somebody also, maybe it was yourself, Oliver, said that, well, you know, in the classic strategic texts, like Sun Tzu, for example's 2,300-year-old text, The Art of War, you notice that the ancient Mandarin ideogram for crisis is almost identical to the ideogram for opportunity. And strategic people always say, well, out of crisis, there's opportunities, and there are. There's pain from the crisis and from the pandemic. Some people have also alluded to the opportunities, and I think that the fundamental insight people have also mentioned that whatever the post-pandemic world will be in the higher education landscape will not be the same as 2019. And there will also be a positive aspect. Progress towards the digital university is probably greatly accelerated. And although there's been immense difficulties in terms of digital access, digital platforms, this was probably something we had to face. We just didn't know we were going to face it in crisis mode all at once in a pandemic context. So what can we really say, and to what extent can Foundations of Leadership One assist? Well, everybody is facing the challenges in their own unique context. And well, in the group discussion perhaps, but we can't maybe reach all those contexts, but we can, I think, provide some, you know, outside of the granularity in which you need to solve problems. We can discuss and we can reflect on some of the general principles, because, you know, it may be an article of faith, but I still believe the answer to a lot of these challenges is leadership and management, or as I like to say, management leadership. We'll be dealing more with the regulatory framework, with the political economy of higher education and leadership in Foundations of Leadership One. People have also raised issues about strategy, about change management, about people management. Sadly, or maybe happily, that will come up in Foundations of Leadership 2, and hopefully you will enjoy Foundations of Leadership 1 sufficiently to actually sign on for Foundations of Leadership 2. Talking about the future, Machiavelli, in his famous leadership manual, The Prince, he has this concept of fortuna, which isn't exactly fortune in English. In English, it probably translates into some combination of luck and opportunity. And Machiavelli always talks about how leaders must grasp fortuna when it appears in their environment. But he very, very specifically says that yes, you don't know when Fortuna will appear or if it will ever appear, although normally in one's career, it does come and go. The point he makes, though, is the people who are able to grasp Fortuna are the people who have prepared themselves to both see the opportunity and have the conceptual and practical tools to actually take that opportunity. So hopefully attending Foundations of Leadership 1 and maybe 2 will increase your affinity to seize the Fortuna when it's offered. So there you go. From Latin America in the 20th century to ancient China to Renaissance Italy, we come back to where we are now. Africa, South Africa in the 21st century, with all the specific challenges you face as heads of department, and I know we also have a dean. I look forward to working with you tomorrow and Friday, and we'll see what we can do about these challenges. We'll see about all the implicit, tacit knowledge you all have already, because you're already leaders and managers. And we'll see to what extent we can bring up that tacit and implicit knowledge, give it a bit of a vocabulary, use some typologies to bring out issues, try to facilitate a bit of discussion in your groups, and hopefully continue the path to management and leadership enlightenment. Thank you, Oliver.
Thank you very much, Patrick. And over to you, Birgit. Thank you.
Thanks very much. That's been great hearing from everyone and seeing also how we share such similar challenges, and also hearing how people make plans with it and really use the opportunities and think about the growth opportunities that we're having at the moment. There's not just challenges. Of course, it's as Patrick's now said, challenges also give us opportunity to grow and to lead change. So what we're going to do now is, it's my pleasure to close the event, but before I do, I want to share my screen with you and please remind you of the tasks that are still outstanding for the day in order to prepare for tomorrow. I'm going to share my screen. There you are. For today, you are invited and requested to please watch the video. It's a video by Thandi Lewin, Dr. Lewin, Deputy Director General from the DHET, who will share with us, or who does share with us on that video, a lot of the regulatory issues and policy issues that the DHET has in place to govern and to guide the sector. So it's about a 50-minute, 45-minute video. It's very interesting. And you are asked to watch it and listen to it and enjoy it, and then jot down questions and comments. So there are two things on your canvas. The one is the video. The second one is the chat facility. I'm going to show you what that screen looks like. It'll look like this on your canvas. So you first watch the video, then you enter comments and questions in this chat room, in the Fold chat room. Because a lot of you are struggling with load shedding and the on-offing around Canvas, our team has uploaded the video into the YouTube channel, and you will get an email with the link to that email, to the video in your email. So you can watch it on Canvas, but if you're struggling, it's also on your email. And thanks to the tech team for making that possible at such short notice. So I'm just going to flip back to the other one. This is the picture you will see in Canvas. You click on the link and you can watch the video, and then you post your questions in here. And then these questions will form the basis for our discussion tomorrow morning when we have Dr. Lewin in with us for an hour to answer these questions. So a quick reminder of all the things that we want to do over the next 2 days. We'd like you to watch the video, you pose your questions. We'd like to encourage you to be as active and as participatory as you can. The more you're present, the more you ask questions, the more you make comments, the better for your own development. Your attendance is important. It's monitored in Zoom, so there is an attendance sort of time check. We would like to encourage you, as we've said, that you have your name and your picture in Zoom. We need it again to call up people and to monitor attendance. And finally, please do enjoy the next 1.5 days or next 2 days. Enjoy them with each other, enjoy the material, enjoy the facilitators, and we hope you really grow a lot and learn a lot in these 2 days. I'm going to check with my team, with our team, to see if there's anything I need to emphasize or I've forgotten. I believe I've just got notice the email is in your inbox with the link for the video.
No. I'm saying I will email the link, Birgit. It will get done this afternoon. It's not there yet.
No, Michelle, you can't do magic. That's okay.
Sorry, Birgit, the link is actually in the chat now. So it's all loaded and ready to go.
Fantastic. So it is loaded. That's great. So everybody, please get a chance to watch the video via Canvas, or the link in here, or the links on your email. Oliver, is there anything we want to say? Last comments?
No, I think it's been good. I think it's been really, I always enjoy this first day because it's so good when we have a new group and there's a dynamic. And I really appreciate the level at which people share their own experience. And I'm sure that will kind of be the way we will engage and interact in the next 2.5 days, just to give you the assurance, colleagues, that this is a safe space. So, you know what you say here remains in this room, remains in this platform, and we'll really encourage you to use the opportunity for reflection and more importantly for learning. So thank you very much, Birgit.
I'm going to stop sharing, and I'm going to ask all of us to put our cameras on for a second so we can wave at each other and say goodbye, and see you all tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Is that correct? We see each other at 9 o'clock.
Yes.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. See you tomorrow. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye. Bye.
Bye now.
Could I ask, is there still going to be some tech support? Because I have a little tech support question as everybody's leaving.
Let's try.
Yeah, let's see if we can help you.
It's not a big thing. I'm sure I'm supposed to be able to figure it out on my own, but I'm not sure how to get my picture up where you would like it to be.
Right. That should be easy.
I'm looking on a separate screen. Sorry, that's why I'm looking to this side.
So Adelheid, have a look in your Zoom picture. You've got, if you hover with your mouse over your own face, over your own picture, your own camera, your own square, you'll see the little blue 3 dots.
Where's my, I'm trying to just get my video to show. Do you see my video? I don't see my video for some reason.
No, you can't share, but just take your mouse and just go over your face. Can you do it? And then you see a little blue, red.
To the top right-hand corner.
Yeah, in the top right-hand corner, you see 3 little dots next to the mute.
Oh, let's close this. The chat is there. Top right-hand where you see the view.
That's right. Just have a look.
No,
view is too far.
On your picture. On your square
picture.
Oh, on my picture. I see it. Okay.
On your picture, yeah.
You've got 3 buttons or 3 little dots.
3 little dots.
And if you
I've got it.
3 dots, you open the little menu, drops down. And the second last says add profile picture.
Hide self from view. Mine says mute my audio, stop video, choose virtual background, choose video filter, pin, hide self, and rename.
Okay.
There
should be an add profile picture in there. So
or edits. Yeah, or edit profile picture. Ours has got that.
I don't think mine has that option because these are the only options I have here unless I should go somewhere else. Mute my audio, stop video, choose virtual background, choose video filter, pin, hide self view, and rename.
Otherwise, when you've logged out, of this meeting, go into your main Zoom account. When you go to profile, I can't remember the actual steps now, but if you go into your Zoom account, check on profile, there is an option there to add a profile picture or change your profile picture.
Okay, let me try. Otherwise, I'll.
So
I'll
once
also
you're out of this meeting, there should be that option as an alternative.
Okay, I'll go and look around. Hopefully, I come right. Thank you.
All right then. Thanks.
See you tomorrow.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. Okay, so it's just the 4 of us now.
Yep.
That went very well.
Yeah, Oliver's excellent. Oliver, you there?
Oliver, you can have another career as a sort of psychologist.
I think Oliver's left. So should we go?
You left, you're right.
Yeah.
Or he might have frozen, given all our connectivity problems and stuff the last few days.
No, he's done very well. He lovely is connecting.
There he is.
There he is.
Yeah, I mean, I was fascinated by people. Andre was solving all those problems just as well as he did, because then he solved the problems for about 9 people in that period between 9 and 10, which meant we had an extra 9 people properly connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it also means that we don't maybe need all those earlier 3 times an hour tutorial. I mean, that's overkilling.
No.
You know, that's just such a
We
service.
do. We
Oh,
do, because it was chaotic this morning. Unfortunately, what happened was yesterday, Andre left his cell phone in a taxi, and so
drama and more drama.
So you guys haven't seen the drama behind the scenes since yesterday afternoon. It has been utterly chaotic. So I had quite a few people checking in with me and saying that they couldn't access yesterday afternoon's 2 Zoom sessions. So I think, there might have been about 3 to 5 of them. So that would have alleviated the pressure a little bit this morning. But I think, Oliver, that we must, I'm going to rethink the communication, because it does get to be a little bit chaotic. But yes, there was a crisis yesterday. That was, and of course, now we are sitting with the problem or the issue that Andre is traveling this afternoon or this evening, so he won't be able to do any Canvas access support until possibly tomorrow afternoon. So
just pray for me and Denise at our will. We've got no Rassie, no Andre.
It looks like most people are now on.
Yeah.
So
I'll go back and double check who's on.
I was totally amazed at all these people who are more hapless at IT than I am.
and they're active in the academy. Yeah.
I know, that's scary.
Yeah, that's scary. Yeah, very scary.
Yeah, it does make me feel a lot better too, I must admit.
No, I feel like a champ now when it comes to technology. I think on a serious note, I mentioned to Michelle when we were trying to resolve this issue around Andre going missing in action, I think we need a backup and we need somebody more permanent. And I've been saying I'm worried that people are using Andre too much for technical support. Rassie should be stepping in, and we're working on that. Rassie just had some issues for this time, but we need to have at least another 2 people. So I'm saying, in addition to Andre, if he's available, we should also have Patrick Fish, who's probably the most technology proficient, and Rassie being our techno go-to people. You know what I mean? So I think we need to deal with that. And then I think also, this is the second iteration. We mustn't be so hard on ourselves. I mean, I was just great. We had 30 odd people in the room. Most of them were there. I was just, hallelujah, they're there. No, I don't care how not that I don't care, but how they got there, I think that was, so we're getting in a much better place than we were previously. I think we will learn some lessons around the access, and Michelle is right. How do we communicate? What do we communicate? I still think we shouldn't ditch the kind of the touch sessions. And we'll balance it between maybe Andre or Rassi being available much longer on the morning. So people who are early starters can come in from 8 o'clock, for example, and get in and get themselves, and they feel comfortable. I'm in and I'm sorted, you know? So we must just think about how, and we'll still see that. I think Patrick, I say it's almost like a South African phenomenon. They come in last minute. You can do all the prep in the world. You can give them all the communication in the world. But the Lord alone knows. They'll still start getting 5 minutes before the time. They think it's just a case of click and I'm in, you know, whereas of course we know it's not.
Actually, it is just a case of click and you're in. If you
know what, yeah. I agree.
People, I'm going to have to run because I've got
No, I think fantastic, great. Good luck with your old stuff. All the best. I'm sure it will go well. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I think we're on track. And Patrick, I'm sure you'll be on it like you normally are, in good shape tomorrow. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks for always being in the background, making sure we're